Diana Taurasi and Caitlin Clark crossing paths was a spectacle bound to produce fireworks, but few could have predicted just how ballistic Taurasi's reaction would be. The moment wasn't just a clash of generational talent. It was an outright collision of competitive wills that left every spectator frozen in awe. Taurasi, known for her sharp tongue and sharper jump shot, brought her signature intensity to bear in a way that perfectly contrasted with Clark's unflappable swagger. The interaction unfolded like an unscripted drama, and Taurasi's reaction was nothing short of a masterclass in controlled chaos. But before we proceed further, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. The setting itself was ripe for tension. The court was electric, buzzing with the energy that only happens when players of this caliber share the stage. Clark, riding high on her reputation as a burgeoning superstar, carried herself with the kind of confidence that could spark envy or admiration depending on where you stood. Taurasi, a seasoned veteran with a competitive edge honed over decades, wasn't about to let the moment pass without putting her stamp on it. The chemistry, or lack thereof, between the two was palpable, the kind of charge that makes the air feel thicker, almost tangible. As Clark made one of her trademark long-range threes, Taurasi's body language shifted. She wasn't just watching, she was reading the game, calculating, and most importantly, reacting. It wasn't just a defensive lapse or an impressive shot. It was a challenge, and Taurasi doesn't back down from those. Her glare was sharp enough to cut glass, and the way she clapped her hands together afterward was as much a signal to her teammates as it was a warning to Clark. Game on. What followed was the kind of back and forth that only basketball could deliver. Taurasi, known for her uncanny ability to rise when the stakes are highest, took the ball with a renewed focus. She moved with a purpose that screamed, "Watch this," and executed a play that had the crowd roaring. It wasn't just skill on display. It was a statement, a reminder that while Clark might be the future, Taurasi was still very much the present. Her celebration afterward, a mix of defiance and glee, was pure Taurasi. A little theatrical, a little intimidating, and entirely unforgettable. Clark, to her credit, didn't shrink from the moment. If anything, she leaned into it, meeting Taurasi's intensity with her own quiet determination. There's a certain poise in Clark's game, a calmness that feels almost counterintuitive when paired with her audacious style of play. But Taurasi's reaction seemed to shake that foundation, if only slightly. The younger star hesitated, just for a split second, before refocusing. The hesitation, though, was all Taurasi needed to pounce. Her veteran instincts kicked in, and she forced a turnover with a defensive move that was as crafty as it was bold. The arena erupted, not just because of the play but because of what it represented. This wasn't just basketball. It was a duel, a high-stakes battle between a legend and a rising star. Taurasi's reaction to the turnover was as much a spectacle as the play itself. She let out a yell that seemed to echo through the rafters, her expression a mixture of triumph and challenge. It was the kind of raw emotion that makes sports so captivating, a moment that felt both deeply personal and universally thrilling. There's something almost theatrical about the way Taurasi handles herself on the court. She's always been a player who wears her emotions on her sleeve, and this moment was no exception. Her reaction wasn't just about the game. It was about pride, legacy, and the refusal to be overshadowed. It was a declaration that she wasn't ready to pass the torch, not yet, and definitely not without a fight. The way she stared down Clark afterward wasn't mean-spirited. It was a challenge, an unspoken dare for Clark to bring her best. Clark, for her part, didn't shy away. If anything, Taurasi's reaction seemed to light a fire under her. She played harder, pushing back against the narrative that Taurasi was crafting with every move. The back and forth between the two became the focal point of the game, each possession feeling like a chapter in a story that no one wanted to end. Fans in the arena and at home were glued to the action, not just for the basketball, but for the sheer drama of it all. What made Taurasi's reaction so compelling wasn't just the intensity, but the humor woven into it. She has a way of making even the most heated moments feel lighthearted, a wink and nod approach that keeps things entertaining without diminishing the seriousness of the competition. At one point, after a particularly contested play, Taurasi threw her hands up in mock disbelief, her exaggerated expression drawing laughs from the crowd. It was a brief, almost playful moment that added another layer to the dynamic between her and Clark. This kind of theatricality has always been part of Taurasi's game. She's a showman in the best sense of the word, someone who understands that basketball is as much about entertainment as it is about skill. Her reaction to Clark wasn't just a display of competitiveness. It was a performance, a way of turning the game into something larger than life. And Clark, whether intentionally or not, played her role perfectly. Her calm demeanor and focused play served as the perfect foil to Taurasi's fiery passion, creating a narrative that felt almost scripted. As the game progressed, Taurasi's reactions became a kind of barometer for the action on the court. Every play, every shot, every moment seemed to elicit a response, each one more intense than the last. Her energy was contagious, fueling her teammates and igniting the crowd. It was a reminder of why she's been such a dominant force for so long, not just because of her talent, but because of her ability to elevate the game around her. The implications of this moment go beyond just one game. It was a passing of the torch in some ways, but not in the traditional sense. Taurasi wasn't stepping aside, she was making room, acknowledging Clark's talent while simultaneously asserting her own. It was a celebration of competition, a reminder that the best moments in sports come not from domination, but from challenge and response. Taurasi's ballistic reaction to Caitlin Clark wasn't just a moment in a game. It was a statement, a spectacle, and a story all rolled into one. It captured everything that makes basketball great, the skill, the passion, the drama, and distilled it into a few unforgettable plays. For those lucky enough to witness it, whether in the stands or through a screen, it was a reminder of why we watch sports in the first place. Not just for the scores, but for the stories, the personalities, and the moments that leave us speechless. As the final minutes of the game unfolded, the tension between Diana Taurasi and Caitlin Clark only heightened. Taurasi's energy was unrelenting, her presence on the court commanding every ounce of attention. She wasn't just competing, she was orchestrating, controlling the tempo with every movement, every gesture. Her reactions were becoming less about personal bravado and more about rallying her team and testing Clark's mettle. Each play became a microcosm of the broader dynamic at play: youth versus experience, rising talent versus enduring greatness. Clark, ever the competitor, rose to the challenge. She matched Taurasi's intensity with her own brand of quiet resilience, refusing to let the veteran intimidate her. The younger player's poise became more pronounced with each possession, her shot selections more daring, her passes more precise. Taurasi, however, seemed to thrive on this resistance. It wasn't just a game anymore, it was a duel of wills, a proving ground for both players. By the time the buzzer sounded, the game had transcended its initial stakes. Taurasi's reaction to Clark wasn't merely an outburst. It was a testament to her love for the game and respect for her opponent. Clark, though visibly exhausted, seemed almost invigorated by the experience, a baptism by fire against one of the sport's fiercest competitors. The two didn't exchange words at the end. They didn't need to. The game itself had spoken volumes, leaving fans in awe of the raw emotion and talent on display. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more engaging content. We thrive on your feedback, so be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Until next time, keep discovering and stay tuned.